30. We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. Appreciate everybody being here tonight. Roll call. The only councilman we're missing tonight is Roosevelt. Everyone else is here, so he's teaching. We've asked Councilman Hancock to give us an opening prayer, and then following that prayer, if you'd all follow me in the pledge of allegiance.
Father in heaven, we're thankful for the opportunity we have to gather here and to participate in, civic duties and processes. And we ask that thy blessing be upon us and help us make sound judgments and for the benefit of the city and the members here. And say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. We did. I'm looking at the agenda. Did we have a copy of the minutes, July 20th minutes?
Yes. You have on the floor.
They're right there. Were there any amendments or corrections to these minutes that the council noticed? Seeing none, would entertain a motion.
A motion to approve the minutes?
Okay, we have a second.
Second.
Second by Councilman Allen, and the motion was by Councilman Baird. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. And I forgot to ask Brian, are we on? Okay. I just started, so I assumed. All right. We have our comment period at the beginning of each meeting. Is there anyone here tonight that would like to take opportunity to comment? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and move to our appointments. We have the Millers here tonight with us. They have a minor subdivision that they're looking for approval for. Clay, do you want to give us an explanation, or Dean? Either one of you.
Yeah, either way, I guess.
Peter, I can start if he needs help.
I'll probably need some help. So be ready, Dean. So Ken and Shelley been on this lot and they want to purchase the piece behind them from us. And that's pretty much it.
And one thing to note, it was not required, but if you notice, Ryan put an easement, the Ben's property there on the north side. They actually put an easement, which wouldn't be required because they're gonna own both of them, but he could put that in, just if there was ever a question. But it wasn't required.
Well, that's good. If they ever wanted to sell that piece,
Right, they would have an
then
easement.
they would have an easement, which is smart.
And we don't need to annex it because they're actually county and this property is actually city, so something would have to change to zone two, which they're not interested in this time.
And that's an access easement then?
Yes.
So easement for access, okay. Great, any questions?
Move to approve.
Okay, we got a motion to approve. Do we have a second? Second by Councilman. That's gonna take a minute. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. All right. Sorry we didn't get you on the last one. Do you have that felt tip pen? And you'll need to sign it as well. Maybe not.
So you were saying Ron might need some.
Yeah, shouldn't just sign it next. Yes.
Just like that, huh?
Yeah. Thank you.
Good night.
All right, the second item we have tonight is the rural community consultants. This is something that we've approved funding for, and now I think Josh is going to present a contract for us to approve.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, so back in March, the city was approached by rural community consultants or agreed with them. I wasn't here at the process, but they did the scope of work is attached in this contract. The city did approve to spend this amount of money, and they're going to redo all of our city codes, our ordinances, make sure everything's in line. Just so you're aware, I have worked with Michael Hanson. Great company. They work very well with smaller communities. We had a department head meeting this morning. I did explain to the staff the more that we're involved, the more input we give them, the more say we'll have in this. So that this company is really good about allowing us to be as involved as we need to be, which the more we are, the better. So as Dean mentioned, he's got a bunch of stuff for him. So excited to work with this company. It's a great price. And it's $12,250. Correct, Rhonda?
Man, that's the second contract we've had.
That's my apologies.
Thing to say.
No, I was referring to the old one. This one's 25,000.
When we first, I know that we have Councilman Hancock's new, with this, we already went through all of our policies and procedures, and we had a company help us with that. We had Lexipol help us with that. They've been doing police departments for quite some time. And our codes, our ordinances are definitely something that we wanted to look at and get up to speed. And so we figured instead of spending years trying to do that, if we hired and spent this 25,000, we could get it done fairly quickly and be up to speed almost immediately. So I think it's money well spent.
So for tonight, the reason it's before council is we're just asking a request to have mayor sign this contract, get the project started.
Why didn't we sign the contract back when we discussed it originally? Because I remember we were all for it.
We had an amount, but we didn't have an actual service agreement.
Okay. Okay.
It was for July, for this new year.
Have we already been working with them then, or not? Not yet. Okay.
New budget.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah, I'm excited to work with them.
Any other questions?
No, other than that,
Well, would entertain a motion?
I motion to approve the contract with Rural Community Consultants.
Okay, you have a motion. Do you have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman White. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Last item, we have our Parks and Rec. Well, I'm going to say superintendent.
Park supervisor.
Supervisor, okay.
Yeah.
Well, we promoted you, you just
Okay.
didn't know. We'll give some time to Dustin.
All right. Well, thank you very much for the time. Last time that we discussed this memorial, I presented a few sign options, and we had 6 options. And it was suggested that I look into possibilities of some local companies that would be able to build this. And I was able to talk to a few companies that would help us out with this. The first one is with B&P Family Designs. Their names are Greg and Sky Poundstone. And this is the rendering that they gave us. It is a laser cut metal sign. As you can see, it has the Linden multi-complex, the Constitution Park. And along with this rendering, they're going to make 2 sheets. So this is one sheet, and then below it will actually be a recognition and appreciation message. It doesn't have that on there, but it'll say on it in recognition and appreciation for his commitment to the parks and recreation of Roosevelt City. He worked and cared for the parks of the city tirelessly for 36 years. Mott's legacy lives on through each of the parks in which he immaculately cared for. And that'll be underneath it, it'll be two separate sheets, and it'll also have the Roosevelt City logo on it as well. And then it's gonna be two posts, that'll actually, these sheets will be welded on if we decide to go that direction. Just a few pricing to go with this.
Just a quick question on the design.
Yep.
So is the purple gonna be the cutout, or is it the black that's gonna be metal, or is it the purple that's gonna be metal?
It's actually gonna be, the purple's gonna be the metal. He just sent that rendering, that draft to me on the computer, and he says, "Oh, sorry about the color, but
Okay.
where the purple's at, it'll be the cutout."
Yeah, just making sure. Yeah. Okay,
And then it'll actually have to be welded on, and it'll come in two sheets.
okay.
As far as pricing, so this size of this will be 3.5 feet tall by 6 feet wide. And for the 10 gauge steel, you're looking about $2,577. Excuse me, $77.
Is that for both sides? Because we talked about doing one of each entrance.
Yeah, and that's actually going to be for both sides, and that's a 10 gauge steel. And we talked about his logo on it for advertising, and he was willing to give us a 10% discount on that, so it'd be more around $2,300. And then he also gave me a price for a 1/4 inch steel, and it was a little bit more money. It was $4,000 to go with the thicker steel for the upright post to weld it on as well. And
Yeah, sorry. Remind us where kind of the pricing that we were looking at before. I know, where does this fit within kind of some of the other proposals you had last time we met?
So if we do the laser cut signs, it was actually pretty close to what the company from Mountain West Extra was giving us quote for, so
Okay.
it was really close. Which was good because I actually thought it was a little high, but it's good to know that that's kind of the price range that we're looking at. And again, that was $4,000, but he also gave me the 10% discount if we had this logo, which was $3,700. And again, that's with B&P Design. The next one is actually from UB Tech. I was able to sit down and talk and meet with President Aaron Waite. And kind of told him what I was working on, kind of the direction we were looking. And he was really excited about that. He actually knew Mutt pretty good. For a couple of seasons, he actually worked with Mutt and for Mutt. And so he was excited to get working on this. What he recommended that I get with Steve Winterton and have him design this, because he usually does all their designing. They make signs, so UB Tech actually doesn't design it. They have somebody else. But the good news about this one really quick is President Wade is willing to cover the cost of everything. He just appreciated Mutt and what he meant in his life. And so he said, don't worry about the cost. We'll take care of it. Just as far as this goes, kind of the size, it's the baseball park art is going to be 6 foot wide by 3 foot high. Again, it has 2 sheets and it has the appreciation message on it. Again, I'm working with Steve Winterton on the design, and he also said he would not charge us for his design because he actually helped him do his Eagle projects. It was kind of nice, you know, just how impactful Mutt really was, you know, for in the community. So, but as far as this goes, a few other things I'd like to point out is that it's going to be dual sided, and then they would like to put aluminum sheet in the middle, so it helps it bring out the kind of pop. It helps it bring the details out in the design, and especially the lettering. They wanted to make sure that you could read it. Sometimes they say when you do a laser cut, if you do it too small, you can't read it. So they did a second sheet, and they want to put that aluminum sheet behind it.
On the top one.
At the top and bottom, yeah, and it'll actually make it pop. And I don't know if I sent you that example that they had with a different sign. I don't have it. I can, and it's just if you're curious, kind of what it would look like.
So on this one, the black is cut out, and the white is the aluminum.
Yeah, where all the white would be at. Yeah, the black would be the steel, and then you put it behind sheets, and you could actually read it on both sides. And we're looking to put that about 6 to 8 feet. We haven't decided on details. I've been working with Tim Miller and the welding instructor down there, and they kind of been giving their, their expertise on that. They're kind of been talking with me, and they said about 6 or 8 feet would be perfect on the height wise on that. So, they were excited because UB Tech is getting ready to start their new year, and this would be a project that their students could work on. They were really excited. They said they're going to be starting here in a couple of weeks.
What gauge, did you mention what gauge the thickness?
Yes, this would be the heavier thick gauge.
Even thicker than the previous?
Just a quarter inch thickness on that. And they're willing, as long as we put it where we want it, we'll cement it in, and then they'll come up and they'll send their welding department to develop it for us. I was pretty excited about that, where they're going to cover the cost. And I know we had other options and designs. I think financially this is definitely probably the smartest way to go. And I really like how Steve designed. It just looks it looks good. Yeah, that's pretty much all I had.
I mean, I like how all the lettering and everything is in the sign. Like you look at the top one, and you would hope people wouldn't vandalize it, but I can see those letters getting busted off the top.
Right.
Like that, like this seems pretty indestructible to me.
Yeah, for sure.
And I like free. I mean, not to mention, that's a nice gesture, and I really like community projects like that. Try to do those for the city and where we have partners that are willing to participate. And so,
Yeah.
for me, it's a no-brainer personally. So I agree.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
One thing I didn't understand, you said that the metal would be 1/4 inch. Is it gonna be 1/4 inch on both sides? Cause I understood you said it was gonna be faced both sides with a piece of aluminum in between. So it actually be about 5/8 thick.
Probably. I'll need to find out exactly what it is. That's a good question.
One thing,
That's gonna be heavy.
it'll be heavy and they won't be able to damage it. It's-
Yeah.
They have lighter gauges, they can whack the stuff in the end. But this, I just didn't understand.
Yeah, that's a good question to find out.
That'll be there for a while.
Yeah, and that's what you want. You just want something that will be there for a while and it can withstand a few kids. And that's kind of another reason they recommend you go about 8 feet high. It's just, you can set that top piece on the very top of the post and then underneath it. And then the other, before I forget, also, they wanted to weld on the city logo as well as UB Tech. Is there any issue with that, putting underneath the sign? And it would just be a 2x3.
I think that'd be a good idea to give them recognition.
I do too.
They donation of work. That's awesome.
They didn't ask for it, but I thought, well, that's only fair if they.
Well, not to mention, if they're welding, classes and things like that are going to be the ones doing this, that's good for people to know. I mean, it's not only advertisement for a company, but it's actually supporting the trade that actually built the sign. Does that make sense? So it's just, to me, it makes a lot of sense to allow them to do that.
I agree.
Get some more students interested in taking those trade classes and things. That's good.
Mayor, one thing you might want to do is spell check on there.
Yeah, I reached out to you.
On
You worked too hard.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
on the one of the.
We should, that's definitely,
Yeah.
we should pass this and get a few eyes on that.
Yeah, for sure. Hang that up and have it.
Metal.
That would be bad.
They spelled it right at the bottom, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
So with the mayor and council approval, I'd like to meet with UB Tech. If that's the direction you guys would like to go, just get approval to move forward.
Do we have a motion to that?
I'll move that we approve this project and go forward with it.
Okay, so the motion is to approve UB Tech, put our logo and their logo on the sign. I think that's fair to say, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
second by Councilman Hancock. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Thank you.
For all your work.
Yep,
Dustin.
thank you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
That'll be a good addition to our parks too.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, and if we like it, we can add other entryways, but for now, let's put it on the second entryway.
Oh, okay, just the one.
Just the one. But if we can, maybe I'll talk to them and see if they're willing to do two.
Just get it on the,
Yeah, what's their feelings on that? Do you want to do two?
I knew it was, somebody mentioned possibly do two, the west entrance and the south entrance,
Yeah.
but I'd say let's get the one done and then see how it looks. And
Sounds good.
Discretion.
yeah, if they want to participate.
All that sort of stuff. Thank you.
Thank you. Josh, do you have anything for us tonight?
Couple really quick things. First thing with UV Tech, I want to remind council about the parade. Saturday morning,
Oh, yeah.
8:30.
Any of you that are campaigning this year, that would be a good opportunity for you.
So the council, do we have a floor reserved for the council?
Yes, there's a fire truck, the old 47.
Yeah, the old 47.
Okay, I know we've done that.
Ready.
Yeah, I just wanted to.
Yeah, Ryan's got it all set for you guys. He's done great getting that ready.
Oh, why you smile? We do have it ready.
I want to drive the street sweeper.
You're gonna be driving. right?
Kirby did say the street sweeper's ready to go.
I'll drive.
You're supposed to.
Unless somebody wants to trade me, he can drive the fire truck and I'll drive the street sweeper.
Did we order candy?
Yes, there's been a lot of candy ordered.
Good, good, good.
I'm gonna share there will be,
Earlier today, I forgot. Appreciate it.
One time.
one of the, or two more quick things. One, I wanted to update you, the Innovation Hub is up and running. We do have one tenant in there already, so it's pretty exciting. He's going, we're gonna thank Strata for their help getting the internet in there as well. And then finally, our intern program, Councilman Busenbark has worked, and we will hopefully have our interns started here shortly. But that program's underway. We're having an interview with someone next week, so that's moving along really nice. We've got a bunch of projects lined up for them to help us with as well. Any questions?
At what time did you say the parade lineup starts? Did you guys?
Mark, do you know what time the
I was told it started at 9, so I assume 8. Hour before, 45 minutes before.
You're the council, I know.
We won't start with that.
Well, I probably pushed it.
You might stop. Yeah. Anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anything that the council would like to share? Anything with committees or reports they have for us?
Have you been able to, get with Councilman Hancock about what committees he's gonna be assigned
Oh,
to?
I forgot about that. I need to take a look at that, and I appreciate that reminder. So,
I'm just trying to fly under the radar.
You got to me last meeting, so.
my guess is, well, we'll look at it again. It'd be good just to look at everything again. I'll get with Josh and go through those and Ryan and we'll.
I think it'd be good to, if you want to, just go through all of us and make sure we all know.
That's what I think.
Probably better after.
I like to keep my feet on the ground.
So, maybe I'll make a list and then if there's any of the council that feel strongly they'd like to serve in some things. I know some of you have been assigned to things for quite a long time, and if you want to change, then we can look at that. So we'll get the list together of all the different committees that we have and the responsibilities, and then if there are any strong feelings one way or the other, we'll try to accommodate those, and then we'll plug in whatever else we need to. But a good point, Dave. I appreciate you bringing that up. Is there any other updates that we need? I have one real quick. We have been approved for the conditional use permit based on the conversation that we had at our last council meeting. So they did agree to narrow the road, allow us to narrow the road and make it a minimum of 26 feet instead of 32 feet. Was there anything, there was something else that we, oh yeah. The road is only conditional on building it. Just because the zoning took place, or the conditional use took place, doesn't mean we have to do the road until the project is either built or it begins to be built. And what that means is if we get funding and we build the whole thing out, then the road will be built simultaneously. If we don't get the funding and we just start with whatever donations we've already raised, then the road will be built in phases because the fill that we get from the gun range is what we're going to use to actually line that road. And so if we do the long range, we'll accumulate a certain amount of fill, that fill will be, added to the road and it'll be done in phases just like. So we work that out with them. That is ready to sign and I can do that as long as, is there any questions, concerns with that? Okay, and I'll go ahead and get that signed. And the only other thing is we have that grant in. We haven't heard anything really, so no news is good news for now. But that's all I have.
This one is for Ryan and Dave. I had a concerned citizens call about us pumping the wells up in Hayden. But I wasn't 100% sure what the problem was.
Are you talking about the Hayden wells or Durgan? Like
Maybe
Durgan.
I think it's Durgan on for about 24 hours. We shut it off. We usually turn it on quarterly for maintenance purposes and stuff. So
what was the concern?
So I actually did call Ryan about this and talk with him. But there were some farmers up there that were concerned about us releasing water. But apparently we do have the rights to do it. And we were just doing maintenance on our pumps and we do that every year.
yeah, I actually turn it on 3 or 4 times a year just to keep things moving and going. And
Can you state for the record what our water right is there? Isn't it 90-something acre feet?
ooh, now you're quoting me. Off the top of my head, I don't want to answer that.
Maybe in our next meeting, we can at least mention that, and so for the public to know that we have a certain water right there, and we can utilize that.
Yeah, the state engineer has mentioned too that it's a high water right. He did call me the next day. That it's a high water right, so at certain times we can use it, but right now obviously no. So we do have the right to have it. So.
Now, just to clarify really quickly, and I know Councilman Hancock has another appointment, but you say it's a high water right, but didn't we had a high water right, but then we converted surface rights to groundwater rights, correct? I know we've had that conversation, and once that was converted, is that still a high water right, or is that because we lost about 60% of the overall volume, or right?
That's when we switched it from irrigation to culinary.
It's out in the night, okay.
Yeah.
Forfeit what, half of the?
Yeah, you forfeit half. We did have a study done on it. Was it last year, Grant? From Christensen?
Yeah, I was looking to see if I could tell you exactly.
Because I'm just wondering because when it was switched from agriculture to M&I is supposed to be able to be used all year round. And so I'm just wondering when he says that we can only use it certain times.
Well, okay, let's clarify here too. There's 2 pumps up there. The culinary one we can run year round.
Okay.
The one that Dustin's referring to is our irrigation well.
Okay, that's the one that was turned on then.
Yeah,
Okay.
Turned on for pump maintenance.
yeah, yeah.
And that's kind of what I got, but I wasn't sure about what our yearly, and what we usually do to maintain that and make sure it doesn't stand up. I'm guessing that's why we.
Yeah, I turn it on because you've got $30,000 to $50,000 sitting there, and if you just don't use it, it's gonna seize up. And
And
sand in, and yeah, you gotta run it, and we have had permission to run that for that reason, so. It's right by the road too, so whenever I turn that on, it's.
I think that was the issue.
Come,
People saw it running and they were worried that it's a low water year, why are we just?
kinda weird to see water that's out of the ground right
That
now,
must have been what the issue was.
yeah.
anything else? Unless you guys want to stay here a little while, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Second. A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Stay here.